Paul Thomas Anderson's first film was a kind of hidden gem. Most people would remember him for his later films, but I do think that this is a really great film and a really impressive debut film as well. The film that I am talking about is Hard 8, or sometimes known by PTA's originally intended title, Sydney. I do think Sydney would have been a better title, as it's very much a character study of Philip Baker Hall's character Sydney. I think it was the studio that forced him to change the name to fit it to the crime genre mould. The film opens with Sydney meeting a stranger called John, played by John C. Reilly, who is a bit down on his luck. He has lost all his money and he has to pay for his mother's funeral. Sydney then offers to take him back to Vegas to teach him a method to create a more reliable income. At the start, John is very suspicious of why this old man is offering him help, which is later explained. It quickly jumps forward 2 years and the two have become very good friends. Over those 2 years, they have met a waitress called Clementine, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, who starts to date John. Sydney offers her emotional support and helps her out too. John, meanwhile, is enjoying the company of a guy named Jimmy, played by Samuel L. Jackson, but Sydney seems to dislike him for some reason. John and Clementine then find themselves in some serious trouble, which they then drag Sydney into. I'm not going to go into what trouble they got into in case I ruin anything, but it does lead up to a big revelation of Sydney and John's past. I think that there are lots of twists and turns in this story, and the first time watching, you're kind of unsure of where the movie's going and what it's trying to be. The film is really Philip Baker Hall's show. He creates a really fun and interesting character. I really think that this is one of John C. Reilly's and Gwyneth Paltrow's better performances. The film is dark in places, but it's also really funny in quite a few places too. Especially Philip Seymour Hoffman's quick appearance as an overly confident, cocky gambler. Another thing I liked about this film was the realism of it. Some of the conversations feel so real, not like the hokey Hollywood movie dialogue we're so used to. Also, when they get into that deep trouble I was talking about, there's no quickfire solution to the problem. They have absolutely no idea what to do. In fact, Sydney even tries to back away at one point, just to save himself. I think that really gave it a kind of real edge. The film is kind of slow in a few places, but I think that it's still a terrific film that needs more attention. And it's cool to see some of PTA's traits in their early stages and some actors who would become regulars in his later films. So, next up, the film that broke him into mainstream attention. Until then, all I have to say is, thanks for listening.